are reading tonight the final section, chapter 30, called Changeless Reality. And I have a couple comments to go over as an introduction here. For one, back in 1818, Arthur Schopenhauer, who is a German philosopher, is quite well known or cited in philosophy. He was considered to be the father of pessimism. And I'm not endorsing his ideas. Matter of fact, I disagree. The Course of Miracles would seem to disagree with him on just about everything, on a great many things. But he said that the only world everyone is actually acquainted with and knows is carried about by him in his head as his representation. And he is thus the center of the world because he represents it in his mind. Accordingly, everyone is all to all in himself. He finds himself to be the holder and possessor of all reality, and nothing to be important to him than his own self. So what Schopenhauer realized is the mind can form a representation of the world and of itself, and that can be completely contained within one's mind. And it seems as if that is reality. I would say that's the worldview most people have. They think that the representation in their own mind is of reality. And so Schopenhauer said this in 1818. And of course, Course of Miracles tells us that it is we who make the world as we would have it. Now we choose that it be innocent. So Course of Miracles recognizes Schopenhauer was right. We do make the world as we believe in it, but there is another choice. Schopenhauer didn't recognize the other choice. Course of Miracles says, well, perception can go either way. It can go towards innocence and freedom from guilt as well. Heather, you had a comment?
Yeah, I love this. This is the definition of the ego.
It is.
Totally.
As a matter of fact,
that's incredible.
And again, I'm not endorsing Schopenhauer, but if you read Schopenhauer, it's pure ego. I mean, he articulates the world of the ego quite well. But believes that that is all there is, and that is reality. And what we're going to read tonight is about the changeless reality, the reality Schopenhauer didn't see. So this has evoked many hands up. David, you had a comment?
Okay. I want you to look at that picture of Schopenhauer. All right.
That was the nicest picture I could find of him.
And I'm going to cast somebody who everybody knows that looks exactly like him. Woody Harrelson. If you look at him and you see Woody, I can see Woody Harrelson in his eyes and in his smile and face. I don't know if you guys all can, but I had to pass that on.
There are most of the pictures I could find of Schopenhauer are not as flattering as this.
Well, he was a wild man.
Yeah, he really was. Thank you. Susie?
Yeah, no, I gotta piggyback on Heather. I mean, and this is the torture chamber, because really, honestly, this is what I thought, mostly before the course. And to have lived in those days, or to continue to live in that seeming reality, It's torture.
Yes.
So it's, yeah, at least we made some progress since then.
Yeah. Yeah. Schopenhauer was a tortured soul for sure, the father of pessimism. To read him actually is reflected in Course in Miracles many times, I believe, in that it uses this tortured language and reflects what another human being, and Schopenhauer was quite literate and intelligent, reflects that point of view. Richie?
Yeah, hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Poor Schopenhauer. I'm glad he's not here to hear us. It's what I'm hearing is free from the bondage of ego, not self. And what I'm also hearing is one of the early lessons. I have created the world that I see.
Right.
There's also an expression, if I knew all, I would understand all. So I
Yes.
believe for me, and this is, I do not practice it. I go to sleep and my old personality takes over again. I'm talking about uh, my opinion is part of my ego, but not really part of my spirituality.
Well said.
And if I can stick with that, it's difficult because I need to find a victim in order to be right.
Mhm.
If I am in this world, of course I am, but in the world of physicality, I am going to be constantly stumbling over myself and feel so vulnerable. I'll feel like there was a movie once, and they thought he was uh, autistic, that he just had no opinions and just kind of went through the world and went his way and was very fine with himself. But if I don't engage, then there's something wrong with me because I'm not playing someone else's game. And I hope I'm standing out there on a ledge of a limb, but that's where I'd like to be, because it seems like every time I would open my mouth, it would be in defense of my ego, but not my spirituality.
Yeah. Well, Richie, the first step towards healing is the ability to admit that. And that's a big step for all of us, and you're consistently doing that. So you're on your way.
One thing real quick is I still have narcissistic traits, old stuff coming out, but in jokes, but they're still there. And many times, and this would be healing for me, that when I do say something narcissistic and I want to take it back, is it okay to apologize in person to someone who I perpetrated this narcissistic trait upon? In other words, I don't want to walk around apologizing and over apologizing. But I when I do see it, it's easier to spot, or it's getting easier.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to stop it.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right.
And I hope to get an answer to that ASAP.
Yeah, I have something for you, but I want to hold off. Maybe we could do that at the end of the session here, Richie.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Remind me at the end.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right. So that's the world that Schopenhauer saw way back when, and that is echoed as the world of the ego in the Course. The question or the issue with Schopenhauer is he didn't understand anything else. So he believed that the individual was the possessor of all reality and nothing to be more important to him than his own self. That's where we want to go beyond that today. And that's what the reading we're going to do now has to do. David, I didn't ask you if you'd be available for reading, but I assumed you would.
Thank you. Appearances deceive, but can be changed. Reality is changeless. It does not deceive at all. And if you fail to see beyond appearances, you are deceived. For everything you see will change, and yet you thought it real before, and now you think it real again. Reality is thus reduced to form and capable of change. Reality is changeless. It is this that makes it real and keeps it separate from all appearances. It must transcend all form to be itself. It cannot change.
Mhm. So, appearances and forms that continually change, and it's absolutely certain that all physical material things change with time. Even mountains erode away if you wait long enough in time. So those appearances in the human lower mind seem to define reality. And this is the error we make. We're believing that the things we see with our physical eyes represent reality. It's the error that Schopenhauer made. He thought that what was in the mind represented reality. The mind's interpretation of what it saw represents reality. In truth, reality exists on a higher plane than physical form and environments that change. Reality, we call it divine reality, eternal reality, original reality, exists on a spiritual plane that is permanent, and we call it eternal and changeless. It was perfect from the beginning, is perfect now, and always will be. No change could possibly improve it. And so now you have the ultimate conundrum of the things that your eyes see are not showing you that spiritual reality. So you're aware that there's a reality that your physical eyes are not seeing. How do we bridge that gap? Well, we know that the Holy Spirit has a solution to that. But the mistake, what we want to do here in the beginning is recognize the habit that billions of humans have made. And that is believing that reality is reduced to form. And believing that these ever-changing forms do define reality. This is a huge undoing. Because literally it's saying that the information your eyes and your ears and your senses are bringing you is an incomplete picture. And that there's more to it than what your senses are capable of detecting. And so we have to, first of all, admit that there's an error that our mind has been making in interpretation. The same error that we've all made. There's no guilt here in this error because all human beings have done this. So it's simply a mistake. And once we're willing to admit that, we can reorient ourselves towards the alternative. David?
The miracle is means to demonstrate that all appearances can change because they are appearances and cannot have the changelessness reality entails. The miracle attests salvation from appearances by showing they can change. Your brother has a changelessness in him beyond appearance and deception both. It is obscured by changing views of him that you perceive as his reality. The happy dream about him takes the form of the appearance of his perfect health, his perfect freedom from all forms of lack, and safety from disaster of all kinds. The miracle is proof he is not bound by loss or suffering in any form, because it can so easily be changed. This demonstrates that it was never real and could not stem from his reality, for that is changeless and has no effects that anything in heaven or on earth could ever alter. But appearances are shown to be unreal because they change.
Okay, so between these two polar opposites, forms that constantly change, and a changeless eternal reality, the miracle is the intermediate phase that helps take us out of the dreams of fear, the nightmares of fear, and brings us into an intermediate step, which is not the final step, but it's in preparation for the final step to enter into the changeless reality. And so the first thing to do is that we need to undo the fixation that held Schopenhauer into such dark, tortured despair, the fixation that which your eyes and ears and senses are detecting represents all that there is. First, we need salvation from appearances. And so we're working our way out of the preoccupation and the full-fledged faith that you understand what reality is. We need salvation from the belief that you already have it figured out. And once we do that, we can, and the miracle will help us do that. Again, it's not the final stage, it's the intermediate stage, so that we are no longer deceived and we recognize that there is a reality that is true, but that our senses are not the right indicators for that reality. Susie had a comment.
You know, I just wanted to share a real life example of something that just happened. I hope David doesn't mind. For those that maybe were on the call yesterday, I don't know. I know David shared something about some of his fear, and I was kind of quiet, and you know, we were experiencing something with our senses in this world, you know, that was going on. And when we decided to use the tools and how can we look at all of this differently, and we can see peace instead of this, and everything we make, and you know, we give meaning to everything we make, all of that. And we had a complete shift in our thinking, which is a miracle. And what I really want to say is nothing in the world of form changed. The situation did not change. It was purely the way we chose to eventually not attach ourselves to the senses and the ego and what we think we're seeing, to using the tools of the course. And poof, like, just like it says, it just collapsed, you know. And we saved a lot of time, because without this course, we'd probably still be where we were yesterday, and we're not. And that's exactly what really this is saying, you know. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah. Thank you, Susie, especially for adding the comment about how much time it saves you. The amount of angst and suffering, whatever pain, whatever form it takes, can be shortened. It doesn't say miracle workers, we're perfect, but we can shorten those experiences and get back to a sense of what our own inner peace and our path of healing. add that up times thousands of times in one's life, and what a huge movement forward that is. So I'm so glad to hear you testify about that. Richie, you had your hand up?
Hi, guys. What I'm seeing is a form of spirituality, a form of America's Got Talent. In other words, I'm up there in the show. I'm not only the actor out there on the stage, but I'm also the critical judge. And the key is for me to spot it. It's like today I visited a friend who's dying. He's in the hospital. And he did not look good, and he's on his way out. And I was very solemn while I was with him, and I noticed he kind of took on that persona too, and I wasn't comfortable with it. And I started, they were giving him morphine in a syringe, something, he had syringes there. And I used to be an active morphine addict, and it kind of took me back to where I used to be. And I realized that I was dwelling in the past, and my whole persona changed. And we were laughing. He and I were before. It was so solemn. It was almost in the point of depressing.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably went against all protocol, because they say when someone is in a hospital, act like, this and that.
Right.
I did, and we had so much fun.
Hmm.
So much fun. And I left and I said, this is something that's going to be very difficult to share. But
Mhm.
deep down inside, I knew that was the thing to do at that moment.
Mhm. That's beautiful.
Well, I thank you. And
Thank you for sharing that. It's a victory. I'm
yes,
grateful. Thank
thank
you,
you.
brother. Okay, we'll go on. So let's talk about temptation.
What is temptation but a wish to make illusions real? It does not seem to be the wish that no reality be so. Yet it is an assertion that some forms of idols have a powerful appeal that makes them harder to resist than those you would not want to have reality. Temptation, then, is nothing more than this: a prayer the miracle touch not some dreams, but keep their unreality obscure and give to them reality instead. And heaven gives no answer to the prayer, nor can a miracle be given you to heal appearances you do not like. You have established limits. What you ask is given you, but not of God, who knows no limits. You have limited yourself.
So the ego has a hierarchy in its illusions. And while it may be willing to give up any number of illusions, it has a favorites that it wants to keep. And those things we will react to as temptation, because still within us is a wish to keep them around and make them real, so that it and this hidden wish, this hidden desire, is what we learn in the course, is to open the dark doors of our subconscious mind and let the light shine in there. And then we spot that these things are still lingering within us. They're dreams or temptations that we hoped to hang on to. The mischievous part of me thinks about getting up to the gates of heaven and trying to sneak something in that doesn't belong there. It's like going to a concert and trying to sneak your own alcohol inside the gate. or whatever you're trying to sneak. It doesn't wants to hold on to these things, and and here's the truth stated again and again. If you want to hold on to those things, you can. It's and so this came up actually, some comments that Heidi had made maybe a week ago, about a sense of, oh my goodness, there's more there. If you want to hang on to those things, you are able to. Free will enables you to hang on to it. Heaven has no answer to your prayer to hang on to those things that would keep you out of heaven. Because these are limits that we place on ourself. We are doing it to ourself, and free will allows you to do that. And so and what will happen in the ego state is we'll then point to things in the external world that are holding us back, when in truth, we're holding ourselves back. But we're not willing to admit that, because the whole idea here is that we want to hang on to those pet evils, those favorites there. And so there's no coercion here. You only will let go of these things when in your time, when you're ready. And one thing you can be sure of is the Holy Spirit will be there when you are ready to gently accept your illusions, your dark dreams, and remove all the negative effects that they have seemingly perpetuated in your life. So, as it says here, the only sane solution is not to change reality, but to see it as it is. It would be insane to try to change reality and keep your illusions and make them part of reality. That would be a clear confusion about what is real and what is not real. Okay, so what is temptation but a wish, a hidden dark wish to make your favorite illusions real and true? And it doesn't matter what form that takes, by the way, friends. People tend to associate greater or lesser levels of judgment of guilt depending on the form it takes. But it's the wish to make unreality real that is the fundamental error. We'll go on.
Reality is changeless. Miracles but show what you have interposed between reality and your awareness is unreal and does not interfere at all. The cost of the belief there must be some appearances beyond the hope of change is that the miracle cannot come forth from you consistently. For you have asked it be withheld from power to heal all dreams. There is no miracle you cannot have when you desire healing. But there is no miracle that can be given unless you want it. Choose what you would heal, and he who gives all miracles has not been given freedom to bestow his gifts upon God's Son. When he is tempted, he denies reality, and he becomes the willing slave of what he chose instead.
Yeah, so there's possibility one could read this and be confused, what we just read here. So we're going to spend a minute elaborating on here. So we're talking about hidden wishes for pet evils to keep them alive and hang on to them. So we're talking about in many cases, someone who's on a healing journey, whether it be A Course in Miracles or some other form, but who is on that spiritual path, but still's holding on to things, and the ego will cause you to believe that those things are beyond the hope of healing. Teach you that the miracle cannot come forth from you. Actually, I want to elaborate on this one more time. As long as we hold on to our hidden wishes, the price we pay is that the miracle will not come forth from you consistently. It doesn't say that it will never, miracles will not happen, but they will not come forth consistently as long as we hold on to our pet evils. And so the form that takes, and this is where the misunderstanding can come in, is that you can choose which parts of you would heal, but hang on to other parts that won't heal. That it's up to you to make a list of the things you're willing to heal and hold on to other things that you're not willing to heal. So when we do that, we fool ourselves and we deny ourselves the freedom of having consistent miracles come forth. It's actually a denial of reality. And instead, by hanging on to those things, we become a willing slave of those beliefs instead. Heidi, thanks for your patience.
Thank you. I have a question. There is no miracle you cannot have when you desire healing. Now, I have a true desire to help others heal as well. Okay. I'm experiencing with my youngest son, I'll just give the example, is holding a resentment and anger towards somebody. And I'm trying to get him to see it in A Course in Miracles light. And I truly have the desire to be able to help others heal, and it's not working, and I'm getting frustrated, and I feel like I'm missing something. So is it not really my desire?
Well, you really got my attention, Heidi, when you said it's not working, and I wanted to ask you, how is it that you've concluded it's not working?
Because when
So be careful here. I'm setting you up here. Okay. So you've concluded that your prayers for your son and also I assume your communications with him are not working.
Correct. They're not working because of the responses I'm receiving from him.
I understand. So when we say that our prayers and our efforts to healing are not working, Heidi, what we're doing is we're withdrawing our faith from those things. And so a faith, that's a form of faithlessness. Faithfulness prays and does what communications are necessary and maintains the faith even when appearances have not yet indicated that healing has occurred. So so I want to encourage you to continue praying and continue to do your efforts, but withdraw the judgment that they're not working and maintain faithfulness.
Well, my efforts are pissing him off, though, because he keeps saying, I don't understand and I don't know. And, you know, he did this. And so I hear you, and I'm clear that I need to obviously keep praying, but I just feel like he's getting angrier the more I try to get him to come from love. And the thing that started it out was, and this really did happen. The Holy Spirit came to me last night and told me that it's time to talk to him about this situation. And that's how I started the conversation. And his response back to me was, hold on.
Yeah, I'm sure it was intense.
He said it was wonderful. Well, I'm sorry. I said to him, I have to tell you something I experienced tonight. You don't even have to respond or answer me. I just need to let you know that every so often God talks to me and tells me to say something or do something or act some way. He asked me to talk to you and let you know that it's very important that you become able to forgive your boss from Pittsburgh that you work for. God said our only purpose on this planet is to love ourselves and spread. And I went on and on and on.
Yeah,
And his response was, okay, Mom, you don't even know the story, but okay, have a good day.
yeah.
I was like, oh no.
So Heidi, I think you and I are gonna have to take this offline afterwards, because this is, yeah, let's you and I deal with this directly
Okay, I'm sorry.
outside the group.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's all right. I know that there's a big lesson here for us all. And how do we communicate to others when we wish
Right.
to be in healing? So each of us needs to seek inner guidance on those matters.
Thank you.
Yeah, David, I saw you had your hand up for a while.
Yeah, I just was, the way I read this, choose what you would heal. If I would say, you know, I really want my son to heal, and I have a tremendous desire for his healing, I'm choosing what I would heal. And that takes the miracle away from allowing him to bestow his gifts upon God's son. So anytime I limit healing to a specific, I am interfering with the Holy Spirit. That's how I read it.
David, thank you. That you saw it. I missed it. What you just pointed out illustrates a very big point. So I want to echo back what David just said. Even in the world of relationships we have, we can create hierarchies of who we wish to help heal and who we're not going to bother with, so that we're choosing what we would heal, where we would serve as healers. We're making a judgment of selective healing. And what David pointed out is our function is to give all to all, to be healers in all situations. And that means with everyone and everything. That's what we read about in the purpose of this world, chapter 30, section 7, is to have a purpose that sees all events related as a part of healing, and to narrow ourselves and limit ourselves to healing with just a few is to interfere with the Holy Spirit's mission of your serving as a healer to all. David, did I capture that reasonably well?
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. That was a very big catch, David. I really appreciate you voicing that. Susie?
Yeah, I was thinking exactly what David said. Like, I don't know what's in anybody else's best interest, but the Holy Spirit does. So I just, like he said, just pray for everybody's healing, whatever that might be. And really, it's just a judgment if I think I know, and I don't mean this, Heidi, in any way, because I have a son in recovery from heroin addiction, but I don't know what's best for anybody. You know, it's a judgment if I think I do. So I get exactly what David's saying. Just pray for the good of all. Is that kind of what you're saying, David? Jonica?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that we cannot
Yeah.
restrict and focus where we think we would heal something that should be healed,
Yes.
because then we're limiting. Those are that things about putting limits on things.
Yes. Yes. And we are the one that are willingly and voluntarily deciding where we should be involved in healing. It's not an easy message to hear, because we're well intended when we choose to work with someone for healing. The intentions are good to heal, but we fail to recognize of where we're setting limits and saying no to other situations. So the solution to this is to realize that we have a mission guided by the Holy Spirit to bring all healing to all in all circumstances. When that becomes our purpose, then we let go of those limits. And that's the condition for healing to occur, is that we do not limit it. Heather?
Yeah, I'm also getting from all this, what Susie and David were both saying, that, I mean, I may be thinking what I think needs to heal in someone, and it may not be the source of it at all. So I don't even know where it's coming from and what needs to be healed, but my prayer can be sincere that I see them in pain and I want them to heal. But to think I know what needs healing, that's where I would trespass on their free will, because I have no idea the source of it. I mean, I think I can, because of my education, I know where it's coming from, but that's not true. I don't know where the real wound is. And so it takes a lot of humility to say, I don't know what needs to be healed, but I see them in pain and I want them to be healed. And Holy Spirit, I leave that to you to heal them at the source of where the pain is, because I can't know that.
Yes, indeed. I'm not the one to diagnose them, therefore I can't know what they need to heal. It's so true. Do you feel the sense of self-restraint here, of having initially thought that we had it figured out what they need and who needs what? And now we're restraining that sense that we have the answer and that we're right. And instead turning to the Holy Spirit and saying, I don't know, I don't understand all this, but I am asking for your help. It's truly humbling ourselves before the Spirit and saying, I have no answers here, but I do want to ask you for the healing in whatever form you see that it's needed. Wow. Richie?
Hi, guys. You
Hi.
stole the words from me. It's not for me to direct the healing. It's for me to ask for healing and leave it there. Whatever needs to be healed will be healed. There's no direction. There's no target. And when I ask for that, then I heal. And that's for me a form of just letting go. What I'm seeing when I appeal to this, whatever power it is, I experience the transition, and whatever the target is becomes a moot. It becomes moot. So I know there was once it was said, just because the message may not be received, I can still send the message. It goes like that. I get it mixed up, but I'm the one who needs the healing if I specify
Yes.
that whatever the healing's got to be.
Yes. Yes.
I cannot dictate spirituality.
Yes.
All I can do is experience it. That's all my job is.
Yeah. No, that's a really great point, Richie. If you spot it, you're the one that needs the healing from that.
Yeah, it's not a menu. Like, I think I'll have this, I think I'll have that. It don't work that way. It's not a restaurant, a spiritual restaurant. It's just a spiritual state of being for me. And I wish I could stay here. And it sounds nice because you guys are here tonight with me. But who knows, when I'm out there in the world, my priorities change. My ego takes over. So I know why I'm saying I'm feeling really good being here tonight. And I wish I could stay in this zone.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Richie.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go on. Thank you all for that sharing. That was really a special. Did you feel the miracle? David?
Because reality is changeless, is a miracle already there to heal all things that change and offer them to you to see in happy form, devoid of fear. It will be given you to look upon your brother thus, but not while you would have it otherwise in some respects. For this but means you would not have him healed and whole. The Christ in him is perfect. Is it this that you would look upon? Then let there be no dreams about him that you would prefer to seeing this. And you will see the Christ in him because you let him come to you. And when he has appeared to you, you will be certain you are like him, for he is the changeless in your brother and in you.
Gosh, I have so many thoughts based on what we just said in the previous moments of how I could be praying for someone else to heal without really having any idea at all of the work that the Holy Spirit really wants to do. Like someone could have a broken arm, for instance. I'm just making this up. And I'm praying that they would heal from their broken arm. Well, so now I'm the one that decides what they need. I decided that of all the things the Holy Spirit could do, that broken arm is the one that needs, and how that entire assumption that I understand what's best for others and or for myself is at the root of believing that we have interpreted the situation correctly. And that's the fundamental error, the whole scale faith in interpretations that you make by yourself. And being willing to humble ourselves and admit that we do not understand the big picture here, and therefore cannot prescribe what healing should occur. And I think it refers to that here when it says, while you, so it talks about healing here. It would be given you to look upon your brother thus to heal all things that change, but not while you would have it otherwise in some respects, not while you would limit yourself to prescribing what you think needs to be healed. For this but means that you would not have him healed and whole. Susie?
And when my son was very active in his addiction, you mean society, the world, tells me to pray for his sobriety, right? And honestly, even before the course, but now I can really apply the course. I don't know what anything is for. I can't perceive his best interests. So I just started to pray that he would have peace, whatever that was, you know, like truly it's my judgment and society's judgment that he should get clean. But I don't know if that's what God's path is for him. And that's really deep, you know, a real awakening for a mom to like come to that, you know, and I did come to that. But now the course has really hammered that home for me. I don't know what his higher purpose is. I only know what I might have wanted for him, but that's not, it's exactly what we're talking about. So I really have relinquished all of that because I don't know what anything is for. And that's a freeing. It's so freeing. It takes all the responsibility off of my judgment and I just give it to God and the Holy Spirit to heal whatever's supposed to be healed. So I just wanted to share that because, you know, that came to me.
Thank you. Heather?
Yeah, Susie, I just love what you said. And it's really, to me, it's this line that says, you will see the Christ in him because you let him come to you. So you are looking at the Christ in your son and letting Christ be the one that's dealing with whatever this is on whatever level he needs it to be. But you see the Christ in him that's there to help him. So you don't have to be there involved and hovering and making sure it's all going to happen because the Christ in him can do that. And you trust the Christ in him like you trust the Christ in you.
Yeah, that's the really deeper. So let's call the ego at what it's really at. The ego wants to preoccupy us, and this applies to what everybody has shared tonight. The ego wants us to be totally focused on appearances and the form in which some drama occurs in people's lives. So that we never recognize the perfect Christ in each one of us. That the ego wants to keep buried down deep and hidden away while we focus on the surface of things, what's changing lately.
Yeah.
And as it says right here is, wait a minute, did I? Different page.
Yeah.
Here somehow. Okay. Back on the right page here. The Christ in him is perfect. Is this that you would look upon? Well, the ego says, no, no, no. Let there be no dreams about your brother that you would prefer to seeing the Christ in him. And you will see the Christ in him, and because you let him come to you, And here's the thing, if that wasn't hard enough for the ego to swallow, then the real kicker comes in. And when he has appeared to you, you'll be certain that you are like the Christ.
Yeah.
For he is the changelessness in your brother and in you. And it's this to which the ego is determined to keep you distracted with appearances and believing that your prescriptions are adequate for the situations that you find in your own life and in the lives of people around you. Richie? You're on.
Yes,
Go ahead.
yes, hi. Many years ago, I overdosed from heroin. This is not a recovery meeting, I understand that. I'll make my point. I was pronounced dead. I was given my last rites. And as I was going into this coma, I got to see there was a priest and the medical staff were around the bed. And I just went out. And for some whatever happened, days later, I came out of the coma. And what happened was I went out and used again. With all the prayers, with all of the priests and with all of that. And I had actually flatlined. I was pronounced dead. I wasn't ready till I was ready. And whatever that took, in other words, I had to hit a spiritual bottom. And where that bottom is, it cannot be translated. You guys taught me when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. And how that teacher is not that teacher that in my ego's mind is that teacher in a classroom. It's the internal. And I can only express that, convey that, but words will not cover the ground that the point I'm making. So for me, it's an internal conversion. It cannot be explained. If I do, then what I have done this is a term I use is spiritual arrogance. If I did it this way, then you got to do it that way. And my time, not your time, because I know what's best for you. That's just the ego is just disguising itself as a helper when it's not. It's not a healer. So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah. No, it's very true. It is an arrogance. Yeah. Well, I'll call it an ego arrogance appearing as spirit. Yeah. But we're right. I'm tracking with you, brother. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, we have one more paragraph in the book, and then I have idea I want to share after that. David?
This will you look upon when you decide there is not one appearance you would hold in place of what your brother really is. Let no temptation to prefer a dream allow uncertainty to enter here. Be not made guilty and afraid when you are tempted by a dream of what he is, but do not give it power to replace the changeless in him in your sight of him. There is no false appearance, but will fade if you request a miracle instead. There is no pain from which he is not free if you would have him be what he is. Why should you fear to see the Christ in him? You but behold yourself in what you see. As he is healed, are you made free of guilt, for his appearance is your own to you.
Mm-hmm. So let's not forget the context of this paragraph. This will you look upon when you decide what is the this? It's the sentence that we read in the previous paragraph. When Christ has appeared to you, you will be certain you are like him, for he is the changeless in your brother in him. This will you look upon when you decide there's no appearance that you would hold in place of what your brother really is. And we've all done this. let no temptation to prefer a dream of appearances, let that not enter. And do not be guilty and afraid when you're tempted to believe in your own dream as the best course, the best outcome here. Do not give it power to replace the changelessness in your brother and in your sight of him. I mean, this is really what we do when we are unconscious and thinking we have the solution. We're giving our power away to our belief that we have the right prescription. Do not give it power to replace the Christ in your brother and the sight of him. Why should you fear to see the Christ in him? Well, because your ego is determined to look elsewhere. What you behold in yourself, you see. So let me share one more reading. Actually, it consists of a series of ideas. So I was going to put this at the beginning, but it doesn't matter where it's said. And these are taken from other parts within the course that reaffirm this idea of the changeless reality that we all are a part of. The holy relationship reflects the true relationship of the Son to his Father in reality. And the Holy Spirit rests within it in the certainty that this reality, this holy relationship, will endure forever. For you see, holiness can never really be hidden in darkness. Do not give your power to the belief that holiness can be hidden, but you can deceive yourself about these matters, and the illusion will make you fearful because in your heart, you know it's an illusion, and in your heart, you exert enormous effort to establish the illusion as the reality. Enormous effort to make the appearances, which are constantly changing, and try to impart, give your power to them to make them reality. What's the solution to this? The miracle comes along and sets reality where it properly belongs. And eternal reality belongs only in your soul. And the miracle acknowledges this truth. Where could the thought God holds of you exist except where you are? In truth, you have not two realities, but one. Heather, in truth, there's not two realities. There's only one. The ego was seeking to establish a different reality and have us believe in it, nor can you be aware of more than one reality. An idol or the thought God holds of you is your representation of reality. This comes back to Schopenhauer's idea that we hold in our mind a representation of what reality is. And then from the textbook, chapter 14, different realities are meaningless, for reality must be one and cannot change with time or mood or chance or appearances. It's that reality's changelessness is what makes it real. And this cannot be challenged or undone by any illusions. Undoing is needed for unreality. Undoing is needed for illusions. And this reality will do for you. Reality will undo the illusions of unreality. If you choose a thing that will not last forever, what you choose is valueless. So this is a profound series of thoughts that run completely alien to everything the ego believes. It's a complete reversal towards the ego's interpretations of what is real. I'm hoping that you will review this material again sometime soon and let the Holy Spirit take you, as we did here, into a part of yourself that may not be fully familiar, but where the illusions of the past and the light of truth come together. For whenever that happens, only one can continue on, and that's the light of truth. Final comments? So let's see, what did you get out of today's reading? So I'll call on the people that have spoken up first. David?
Why me? I've said enough tonight. What did I get out of this tonight? I love this. As he is healed, are you made free of guilt? For his appearance is your own to you. Just reinforcing that whatever I see, and we talked about, what am I gonna pray for some healing for my brother that's distinct? No, everything I see in my brother is reflected in me and the oneness of all of us. And the totality that the Course talks about is so antithetical to the individuality that the ego talks about that I love that there's no miracle that you can't have if you have the desire.
Yeah, no, thank you, Dave. Thank you. Heather, are you okay?
I'm kind of blown away. It was such a good meeting, and the topic was amazing. What really stood out for me is what Susie had said earlier, is that I really do not know what anything is for, but come from that place, not feeling small, but feeling grateful that I don't have to know what anything is for. That I can really trust the one that does know what everything is for. And that makes me defenseless. And that's where my safety is. That's where my peace is, because I'm giving it to someone who does know. And that just gives me such a reassurance.
Oh, I'm smiling with you because I recognize that truth. Thank you. Susie?
So ditto to everything that Heather just said. And then the other part for me was the beginning with the Schopenhauer, whatever his name is, guy. That, like, yeah, that it's just mind-boggling to me. I always say it, how upside down, our thinking is, and how for me for so long I was just attached to my own little reality and what was going on in here, and it was definitely the truth, and that is all that there was, and that there wasn't another way, and it's interesting because I tried so many different things to find another way, and this course is just so simple. It's different, but it's just so simple. And if I follow the directions and the curriculum, I will get miracles because my thinking will change. So this class was amazing. It's like picking a favorite child, there was just too many amazing things going on here tonight. So thanks.
Thank you. Heidi?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Everybody that shared tonight was so inspirational and enlightening. It was just a wonderful night. And what I learned is to let go and let God. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy?
Yeah, I got to not limit healing, and that the miracle is a shift in perception, which lifts the veil of illusions and idols, which is what I think this was talking about. The appearance changing to me is like lifting of a veil. And that's what the miracle does. That's how I read that.
Mhm. Thank you. Julie S. I don't know if some of our friends are off camera, if they're available right now. There.
Oops,
Uh,
yeah, this was really good. So I guess just in overall, it just really brings home uh, the miracle just kind of comes in very lightly, and and I really just have to allow it. And it touches everything with a different feel, a different light, and it's kind of like an exhale, and it replaces all my judgments on things, and it replaces all my solutions with the perfect solution of really seeing seeing the Christ in everyone, and then having that be the reflection that I see of myself. So yeah, so I just want to thank everybody else.
thank you. Julie C.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, for all the sharing. I'm with Heather and Susie on the relinquishment of my idea of what's right for people, including myself. I feel a great relief when I remember that, just asking to be guided is really all that's necessary.
Yeah, it's big, huge. Thank you. Felicia?
Hi, yeah. Hello, everybody. I think what I got most out of it tonight was just to also see Christ in everyone, thinking that I know what might be best for someone, when I know what nothing is for. And I really appreciated everybody sharing about their hardships, I suppose, with their sons, daughters, whatever. I think it was sons, but because I didn't come into the course until after my son had passed, but I know that in my mind I had come to a place where I quit asking for things for him. I was like more of a please don't let me suffer anymore. Let him find peace. And so, and that was just my way, I think, of relinquishing it, the false sense of control that I thought that I had at the time. But, the God handles things in his way, and his way to find peace was to move on from this world. And it's really great to be able to be in that place today. Yeah, so that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. David W. You there? Maybe not there. Let's go on to Julie K.
Yes, it was very interesting, all that was talked about, and it was encouraging for me to know that it's not all these appearances that are real, but it's what the Holy Spirit is doing is what is real. That is the reality in a person or people we come in contact with. It is the work of the Holy Spirit that is real. If I can only, hang on to that and hang on to the guidance and direction from the Holy Spirit, my life would be so much better if I could do that.
Thank you, Juliet. It's all a journey for all of us.
Thank you.
Richie?
Yeah, hi. I feel the healing. There's an aria, Nessun Dorma, and a Pavarotti used to sing it. And the word was alba. It's an Italian word and it means dawn. And what I am experiencing through this meeting tonight is a dawn, something. I cannot put words to it.
Mhm.
It just at the end, and this is real quick. Many years ago, I was working in the field of recovery. I was helping, and there was a nun there helping, assisting the doctor, and I was helping out. And she never said anything. All she would do would smile, just a smile. And very, very rarely say anything, but if she did say something, it was something very welcoming. And I that smile today, tonight, just came up, and I'm experiencing that love, that peace. Thank you.
Mhm. Well, thank you all. What a lovely way to spend an evening, moving further along the healing path. Thank you all for taking the time to come together like this. Let's do this again. We're going to move on to chapter 31 next weekend. And I was sharing here that that would put us on a pace to finish the textbook in the first half of December. And then after that, for those people who are available in the weeks in the second half of December and early January, I'm going to be offering the teacher's manual on the same times that we always meet. And the teacher's manual allows people to jump in pretty much anywhere and you're fine. So if you want to join us during that time, we would love to have you. Meanwhile, I want to thank you again for your presence and for being the Christ within you and for believing that we can see the Christ in others and that would allow us to recognize once again the Christ within ourselves. It's already there. It's the reawakening to these things. So I honor you for that. Namaste.
Donica, you asked if we could do this again. Can we do it tomorrow night? Can we come back tomorrow night?
I have another class. I teach another class on Tuesdays, so I have to wait till Saturday.
I'm joking.
Thank you.
I agree,
Thank you.
Susie.
Right. Love you all.
Love you all. Thank you.
Bye.
Peace and love.